Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Way UK podcast. I'm your host Zoe, and I'm joined by my wonderful, delightful, amazing, exuberant, fabulous co-host.
Okay.
Thank you. Zach.
And
Michelle.
guys, we are in a new 4-part series. Very exciting.
Ooh.
We're going to be looking at the encounters that Jesus had with people all throughout the New Testament and the different ways that we can learn from them.
Come on.
And today we're going to look at the call of Peter, which is in Luke chapter 5, verses 1 to 11. So, guys, it would be super helpful if you're watching or listening on YouTube. Please may you like and subscribe and leave a comment. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please can you leave us a follow and a rating? Nice one if you'd like. Because basically here at The Way, our mission is to share the gospel with every single young person online.
Wow, that's
And
a big vision.
It's a pretty big vision, and you doing that really helps us. So yeah, thanks guys.
Killed it.
Killed it.
Credits have been rolled.
Rolled. And now we're rolling into the Word of God.
Amen. Open up that scroll.
Open up that scroll.
Let's do it.
Zach,
Yes, ma'am.
would you like to read the whole? Actually, read the whole passage. And what translation are you reading, Zach?
It would be my greatest privilege to read out of the ESV today.
Okay, ESV, take us
Luke
away.
chapter 5, verse 1 to 11. Here we go. Okay. Starting verse 1. On one occasion, while a crowd was pressing in on him to hear the word of God, he was standing by the lake of Gennesaret. And he saw 2 boats by the lake, but the fishermen had gone out of them and were washing their nets. Getting into one of the boats, which was Simon's, he asked him to put out a little from the land. And he sat down and taught the people from the boat. And when he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Put out into the deep and let down your nets for a catch." Simon answered, "Master, we toiled all night and took nothing. But at your word, I will let down the nets." And when they had done this, they enclosed a large number of fish, and their nets were breaking.
What?
Say what?
Say what?
They signaled to their partners in the other boat to come and help them, and they came and filled both the boats, so much so that they began to sink. Shout out.
Wow.
But when Simon Peter saw it, he fell down at Jesus' knees, saying, "Depart from me, for I am a sinful man, O Lord." For he and all who were with him were astonished at the catch of fish that they had taken. And so also were James and John, sons of Zebedee, who were partners with Simon. And Jesus said to Simon, "Do not be afraid. From now on, you will be catching men." Oh! And when they had brought their boats to land, they left everything and followed him.
Wow. That is a crazy.
I was getting into that, bro.
You were getting
I could have
into
just
that.
kept reading.
You really took us there. Guys, there is a lot in this story, which is the calling of Peter. We see Peter, he starts as a fisherman, a fisher of fish, and ends it a fisher of
Man.
Hey,
Oh!
come on, Lord. You switched it around. Sorry. Okay. Zach, thanks for reading. That was really beautiful. You read it so exuberantly.
Thank you.
You really
New
took
word.
us there.
Boo.
New word, guys. Okay. Let's break this down. Let's go through it chronologically and just dive into it a little bit deeper. Okay.
From the top.
So let's go from the top. Okay, so verses 1 to 3. Shall we read them again?
Do you want me to read it again?
Michelle, you read it again. Sorry. Skipped over.
Didn't make callbacks.
I've got a different translation.
Yeah, it's good. It's
Do
good
it.
to hear.
1 to 3.
1 to 3.
Pretty sure I'm reading NIV. I am reading NIV.
Pretty sure.
I've had this Bible for 2 years.
Yeah, you got it.
Right. One day as Jesus was standing by the lake of Gennesaret, the people were crowding around him and listening to the word of God. He saw at the water's edge 2 boats left there by the fishermen who were washing their nets. He got into one of the boats, the one belonging to Simon, and asked him to put out a little from the shore. Then he sat down and taught the people from the boat.
So what's going on here?
Luke be setting the scene for us, hey? By the shore, these fishermen.
Jesus is famous, bro.
Jesus
Like,
famous.
What the heck?
Crowding.
Crowds follow. I mean, I don't really know actually exactly where this lake is, but I'm assuming it's like somewhat in the middle of like nowhere.
Sea of Galilee.
What I mean
Sea
by
of
that
Galilee,
is what I mean by that is people don't really just typically hang out around the docks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
You're
mean,
so right.
because it's smelly.
Yeah, it's
Fishermen
smelly.
are
Like
fishing,
there's people working all
fishing.
around.
It's hard.
I mean, I imagine people are going out of their way to
see Jesus.
see Jesus.
And listen to him.
Yeah.
That's so helpful. It's like we know that Jesus is a respected and followed teacher at this point.
Yeah.
I think this is quite near to the start of Jesus's ministry. Like the chapter before, Jesus has just been tested in the wilderness, and then he's gone home and been rejected at his hometown, done a few healings, and now we're here. So he's at the very start, seemingly near the start of his ministry, but people care about what he has to say. And then also I wanted to, in verse 3, when he got into Simon Peter's boat and asked him to put out a little from shore, and an extra little note that shows his authority as a teacher, as a rabbi, is that he sat down. It says, then he sat down and taught the people from the boat. And back in their day, the rabbis in the synagogues, they had a chair that they would teach from, I think called Moses' chair. And so by Jesus sitting down, he was like, I'm taking my teacher stance right now. So, okay, we know the people are there to listen to God. So
There's also another couple of people though who are the fishermen, right?
yes.
And they're cleaning their nets, which tells us they've been fishing.
Okay.
And I mean, I read up a little bit about this particular lake. Apparently people fish in this lake at nighttime. So I guess it's the morning. They've been fishing all night, tough night shift. And now Jesus is going to hang out with them a little bit, and we're going to see what happens. But also, like, that puts a little bit in context. Jesus like asks them to stand in his boat. So like they must respect him a little bit.
Yeah.
They've just worked all night. Gosh, last thing I want to do is get back into my boat and sit there with this guy teaching, but I respect him, so I guess.
Yeah. Like surely they would have been so tired actually. Full night shift, and then this guy's like, hey, actually, can you come back out and keep me in the boat. Keep me in the boat whilst I preach.
Yeah, let me speak to everyone.
And interestingly, actually, Jesus did just heal Simon Peter's mother-in-law,
True.
the chapter before this. So maybe Simon's like, oh, bro, I have to say
I owe
this.
it to him.
I gotta do this. But okay, let's carry on reading. Let's read just verses 4 and 5. Zach, do you want to read those?
Yes, back off the bench. Come on.
Come on now.
Verse 4 and 5. And when he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, put out into the deep and let down your nets for a catch. And Simon answered, Master, we toiled all night and took nothing, but at your word, I will let down the nets.
What does this make you think of? Like, especially verse 4, where Jesus tells Simon what to do. Jesus, a carpenter, tells a professional fisherman how to fish. It's like, I don't know how I would feel if a guy who I didn't know that, like, at this point, Simon Peter doesn't know that Jesus is God yet, right? He just thinks there's this teacher who happened to heal his mother-in-law is telling him how to do his job. I would imagine that he'd be slightly irritated at this point.
Right.
But I do think it's interesting that he then says, but because you say so, I will let down the nets. And like, I don't know, that response is super interesting to me in that he didn't know that Jesus was God yet. But I wonder what you think.
Guess it was kind of out of like an obligation in a sense to like pay Jesus back with what he'd already done, because previously reading Jesus had just healed Peter's mother-in-law.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Dang.
Peter probably was thinking, okay, since you've done that now, I have something to owe you, so I'll go and sit in this boat with you.
It's kind of like out of obligation. I see what you're
Out
saying.
of obligation.
It's like a
Yeah.
kindness.
I mean, I also read that when he says like teacher here, or mine says master. So he says, and Simon answered, Master, we toiled all night and took nothing but at your word.
Yeah.
I read that could also be translated as like boss or chief.
Yeah.
And it's like, that made a lot of sense in my mind.
all right,
with
chief.
his tone. Yeah, he's like, all right, boss, whatever you say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, listen,
Yeah.
we've been at this.
We
And we know what we're doing. But all right, chief, whatever you say,
Since you
let's
know
do
it
it.
all.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Kind of maybe a little bit sarcastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't even know what's coming.
You know, he has no idea. But I mean, considering he has no idea, shall we carry on reading and see what happens
Well,
next?
can I say one more thing?
Yeah, go. Oh, please, Zach, please.
I was just thinking about like Jesus' approach here to encountering and like basically winning over Peter is how often do we kind of like almost when we're talking to people who don't know Jesus, hit them with like, this is what you need to change. This is what you need to do. But Jesus, like going back to the couple verses that we started with, in verse 3, Jesus needs Simon's help. That's the starting point that he runs off of. And so he says, I need your help. And then step 2 of his conversation with him is, now let's do something together. So I'm reliant on you. Now let's do something together. And then he's going to encounter him. And then the change occurs after all of that, which I find super interesting. But I just want to make that point basically just to say, how do we approach like sharing the gospel with others? Do we actually like approach them with, you have a part to play in something that's going on. Can you help us out? Do you want to participate? And then let God meet them through that. I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
That's super interesting.
It's a little sidebar.
No, it's such a good sidebar. And it reminds me of the woman at the well, how Jesus says to her, like, give me a drink. Like he also asked for her help before then speaking into her life and being like, you have 5 husbands, or before he like calls her out on like her sin and then like changes her life. But he speaks to her in a way that nobody else would have, which is like, oh, can I actually have your help with this? Like, yeah, I think that's so sweet and kind
Yeah.
of Jesus.
It's like an invitation in rather than
Yes.
this like,
Yes.
I'm pushing this, I'm putting this on you.
Yeah.
There's,
Yes.
hey, come, there's more to this.
There's more.
Let's keep this conversation going. Like,
Yeah.
Super cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
I find that so beautiful. How he draws us in like that. It's his kindness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Thanks, God. Sorry, I was just thinking, before we move on to the next verses, go specifically looking at verse 4, I was reminded of something you said before we started rolling, Zach, which was how Jesus is leading Simon here into an encounter that he doesn't know that he needs. So he's like, initially Simon thinks they're just going out to catch fish, but actually his life is about to be changed. And like how I wonder in our own lives where Jesus is asking us to do something that I don't really know what I'm trying to say, but it's important to just obey and follow God when you hear his voice calling into a certain place, calling into a place of meeting with him and going away with him, because we actually don't know what the fruit of that encounter or that interaction with Jesus will be. In those moments where Jesus is inviting us out into the deep water to come and meet with him, let's do it. Let's do it, because we actually don't know what fruit is going to come out of that, or what goodness will come out of it.
That's really good.
how our lives are going to be impacted or changed.
Hey, what goodness did come out of it? I'm excited for verse 6 and 7.
Oh,
Not doing it. Not doing it. Not doing it. Okay. Woo.
Okay.
I can read.
Yes. Yes.
When they had done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. So they signaled to their partners in the other boat to come and help them, and they came and filled both boats so full that they began to sink. Okay, Miracle.
Okay, Miracle.
Okay, Miracle.
Peter wasn't expecting that, was he?
Was not expecting that.
I just find it really profound that obviously there's a need that's met here. This is a physical need of like, we need finances, like money.
The fish would have brought
The
that.
fish which would
Real.
have brought. But within that, there's something like Jesus is doing spiritually within Peter, which we can then lead on to as we continue reading. But I just find it cool that Jesus is such a problem solver. He sees a need in somebody physically and like spiritually, and wants to fill that need and fulfill it.
Yes.
And he does that in our lives too. Just wanted to bring it back to us. Like
Yeah.
he does that for us too. He cares about our spiritual health, our hearts, but he also really cares about our physical, like real needs. So don't be worried or shy to like ask the Lord for those things, because he's very much willing. He wants to be there and he wants to fulfill those needs for you and me. So yeah.
And he's capable. I
And
mean,
he's fully
abundantly
capable. Oh, yeah.
capable. Like, this is
Facts.
crazy that also, I'm just thinking, their nets would have been freshly clean, right? Freshly washed, prepped to go out on a new catch, which is like good. I don't know. Wait, I only just thought of this right now. But it's super interesting that Jesus called them after their nets had been cleaned, because
So annoying.
like freshly cleaned.
You gotta be
genuinely.
joking. We're dropping these fresh nets? Come on,
Like,
bro.
we're not even going to catch anything. But then the nets would have been like at their strongest point, right? Because they're freshly washed. They've got all the fiber, the debris out from the night before. But now they're still breaking. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But I feel like
Wait. That's so true.
Like-
yeah, because the cleaning made them more durable, right?
yes, it made them stronger.
And yet these freshly cleaned nets are still breaking. That's how many fish there were.
Like that, just put into perspective, I just thought that's like an extra, this is crazy. And that their boats are sinking,
Ridiculous.
ridiculous.
There's so
in
many
deep water.
I mean, there's so many ridiculous elements of it. Like we were talking about earlier, they fish at night typically.
yeah.
But then also, apparently, these fish hung out more at the sides of the lake than the middle, and like near the fresh springs
Yeah.
of water that were flowing into it. So it's like there's just so many ridiculous elements. Like we're fishing in the day, we're fishing in the middle of the lake, in the deep. We've just washed our nets. How annoying and stupid is this?
Yeah.
And then, boom, out of the expectation that nothing's going to happen, the most ridiculous catch of fish that they've probably ever seen. They basically just won the lottery.
Yeah. Like
Like,
jackpot.
actually.
Like, let's remember, this is literally their jobs. So they've this is a lot of money for them.
Yeah.
This is like, I don't know how to relate it into today,
Yes.
but
I feel like it's almost like it makes me think of like finances. Like if you'd have been investing in companies and watching the markets, and this one company that historically had been dropping, and suddenly someone comes into your office and they're like, "Hey, I really think you should just put all your money in that." And you're like, "Dude, that's so stupid. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. This is a penny stock. Like it's going nowhere. It's about to die off. It's losing all its contracts." And then you're like, "But you know what?
Talk about
Whatever. I'll drop
stocks, yeah.
$100 in there." Boom, millions of dollars. It's like, wait, who are you?
who are you? Like, genuine. And also the fact, like in verse 7, that they signaled to their partners in the other boat to come and help them instead of shouting out, because other people would have heard them if they shouted out. hey, yo, we got this lottery of fish.
God,
Then all the other fishermen cleaning their nets would have been like, huh?
They're gatekeeping
I'm going.
their catch. They're
I'm there.
literally gatekeeping their catch.
They're
That's
literally
crazy.
gatekeeping their catch, right? So that's so interesting that's their response is, whoa, we found this, not because of us, but because of this carpenter guy. Let's keep it to ourselves and let's not share it with any of the other fishermen that are around. Potentially. That might be hearsay. Anyways.
Which then leads to
verses 8 and 9, which is Simon Peter's response. We see his verbal response and his spiritual response to Jesus's miracle.
When Simon Peter saw this, he fell at Jesus' knees and said, "Go away from me, Lord. I'm a sinful man." For he and all his companions were astonished at the catch of fish they had taken. This exposed something in Peter's heart clearly. Like, seeing that Jesus, this carpenter man, like, clearly is the Lord. He knew that there would be a great catch of fish in the depths of these waters. Why didn't he go and catch it for himself for the wealth? And the fact that Jesus didn't do that, it exposed something in Peter's heart.
Like Peter's heart was where the money from the catch was, but Jesus's heart was not,
beyond that.
was
like,
beyond
he
money.
Yeah,
It was for the people.
that was my point.
But I think
beautiful.
equally, Peter's seeing Jesus's heart. And what I mean by that is like trying to take some of the Christianese out of it. I think when Peter sees Jesus' priorities, I think it changes his own priorities.
Yes.
Right?
Well, yeah.
So where he was previously toiling all night for what he hopefully would have gotten was a couple of fish. Now he sees Jesus has the abundance of as much fish as he could ever want and doesn't care about it. And that reshapes Peter's thinking into him turning away from the fish and towards Jesus as he kneels at his feet. I think that's super interesting. Like it's reshaping how Peter thought of life and the things that he needed. Suddenly he's like, wait, maybe what I've been chasing after, fish, this whole time is not exactly what I really, really need. Maybe what I need is something that this guy Jesus has.
Well said.
And it's interesting how, how Simon Peter calls Jesus Lord now. It's switched.
Talk to me.
It's switched from verse 5, where he has the potentially sarcastic tone of calling him, all right, chief, whatever you say, boss. And now bro is literally on his knees saying, go away from me, Lord, for I am a sinful man. His whole entire, like, you can see from that one sentence and from the difference in his what's it called, like title or like address, how he's addressing Jesus. Like
switch.
Everything has changed.
It's a little reverse.
It's a little reverse.
Cha-cha slide.
Okay, cha-cha slide. But yeah.
One fish this time. Bow.
2 fish this time. Bow. A million
Slide to
fish.
the left. Boat to the right.
Sinking.
That was super random.
But yeah, sorry, that was random.
Yeah,
but,
he totally just
like genuinely. And I think that's really interesting how this has happened in like so few verses. Literally like 3 verses ago, he was calling him teacher. And now he's calling him Lord. And he's about to drop everything to follow him. Yeah.
I find it really cool. I was just thinking about this. Like, and he and all his companions were astonished at the catch of fish they had taken. Not only was Peter really met by Jesus in this moment, but those around him also felt the impact of that too. And I'm thinking of my own life where like I've met Jesus in a really powerful way, but in turn, me sharing that story with other people has an impact on them too, bringing them closer to the Lord, drawing their eyes to Jesus.
Yeah.
And I'm like baffled by that. Like, wow. Not only did God, Jesus meet Peter, he met all the people that were there too.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's beautiful.
Verse 10?
Yeah, let's talk about verse 10. I
Yeah.
feel like it's a second reversal, right?
Yeah.
So it says, and so also were James and John, sons of Zebedee, who were partners with Simon. That's what you were just talking about. And Jesus said to Simon, do not be afraid. From now on, you will be catching men. I find it interesting in this reversal, this second reversal, that with Jesus, I think this is a bold statement. I don't know. You guys correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
With Jesus, when you have an interaction with Jesus, everything that's led up to that moment becomes valuable. Or maybe becomes more valuable. What may have just been an occupation to Peter previously is now going to be used with Jesus to make everlasting impact. And what was previously used to just catch fish and provide for his family is going to be used to catch people into the family of God, which I think is kind of crazy.
Wow.
And going back to like a little bit of the words that Luke uses here, when Jesus first says, let's go out into the deep water and catch fish, it's the word catch is like in the context of hunting. So we're going to catch to kill. When he says now, you are going to be, in mind, it says you're going to be someone who catches men. The word catch is more like you're going to catch alive. You're not catching to kill. You're catching to take and almost like rehabilitate. Like I read that it was like almost like in a zoo, like how they might take an animal who's like struggling in the wild and take it and put it in a zoo and look after it and care for it. I don't think that necessarily works in terms of like the captivity of the zoo and stuff, but it definitely works in terms of the catching is the same. The purpose is different, which I think is super cool. And when you really interact with Jesus, everything that you've been doing is going to find value.
Yes. And the impact will now be for the kingdom of heaven.
100%.
That is so cool. That is so beautiful. How like something that you were doing before, something that Simon knew how to do, like he had the skills of, it's literally his job. He knows how to fish for fish. But now those same skills, which is kind of crazy, like how is fishing, the skills of fishing transferable to fishing for people and evangelizing? But then I guess that's why we go on this whole story, this whole journey with Jesus throughout the rest of the gospel and seeing how he then teaches the disciples how to actually fish for people.
Right.
Like he teaches them how to do that. Because
So cool.
I just think about like, how does fishing actually go in, apart from the literal catching people in and bringing them into your boat, like reeling them into the family of God. Like how do you actually transfer those skills? But it's actually Jesus himself who teaches them that throughout their journey, their 3-year walk with him.
Can I make another point as well?
Yes, please.
There's something in this where the story ends on a new calling on Peter's life. And I think when we read these stories of like calling, like this one, we often think like, oh, Peter went on to like start the church. Like that's what church tradition tells us, history tells us, is like that was Peter's calling. But I think what's interesting is there's a misconception about ministry that it's only professional, it's only paid.
It's a vocation.
I think we're all ministers. And the Lord is calling us to minister in whatever it is that we already do. I think oftentimes. So like one of the big questions I think coming out of this passage for us today, one of our big takeaways is, what do you already do? What are you already skilled in or talented at that the Lord wants you to use for his kingdom?
Right.
To use for ministry. Like, where does he want you to be a minister where you're at? And it reminds me of like Paul was a tent maker. So we have this example of Peter, who does go into ministry. That's his full-time thing. Paul, he remains as a tent maker, but in tent making spreads the gospel.
Wow.
It's the same calling of ministry, different job or different outworking. I don't know if that means
complete
something,
sense.
Someone.
Yeah.
Maybe like, yeah, I guess just to encapsulate all of that, my question is that question of what is the Lord wanting you to use that you already do for his kingdom?
It's good. Yes, right now, where you're at.
Yeah.
He can use it.
Facts.
And have we read verse 11? I don't think we have.
I don't think we have.
Shall I just read it?
Yeah.
So they pulled their boats up on shore, left everything, and followed him. Woo! That's pretty huge. They left everything after this one encounter and followed Jesus. Does this mean they left their huge catch of fish? Potentially.
Potentially.
Could it also be an emphasis or like a dramatic way of storytelling to emphasize that their whole lives had been changed, their priorities had shifted, now they're living for the kingdom of heaven?
Could be.
Potentially. What I think is so interesting about this last verse is how Jesus drew Peter and his close friends away from the crowd for this significant like change of perspective for Peter to occur, which was a really vulnerable moment for him.
Right.
Jesus, in his love for Simon Peter, in his love for the close friends around him, draw him out of a place where where Simon's response to Jesus might have been quite exposing or uncomfortable if those around him weren't people that he trusted. And I think that is really beautiful. Firstly, because it shows us Jesus' love and care and compassion for us. Like when he meets us, he doesn't want us to feel like hung out to dry or I don't know, like he's just very gentle in how and intentional in where he meets with us in different ways. Like he met with Peter initially on the boat in front of the shore because for a specific purpose, to teach. Then he tells Peter and his companions to go out into deeper water so that he can reveal his lordship to them. And then when they come back to the shore, it allows that the inner workings that's happened in Simon Peter in response to Jesus's revealing of his lordship to then take place. So it's like now that they're back at the shore, they've done the thing. Jesus has taken is that a word? Took them. Jesus took them to a place so that they can now be sent to the place that they've gone to, 100%. And that they can then bring other people into that place that they've been into,
100%,
and invite people to. And invite other people to enter into that place of significant interaction with Jesus.
Yeah.
And I just think that's really beautiful and also begs the question in our own lives of, are we keeping all of the goodness from what we've learned in our own significant meetings with God to ourselves? Or are we bringing them out to the other people? Are we returning to shore to share that beauty that we've been given by Jesus in the deep water? And so, yeah, I don't know. When I read it, I felt like a little bit convicted, I guess, because it's like, am I just storing up all of these really amazing meetings with God where he's revealed something new about himself to me that has shifted my perspective? Am I keeping it to myself, or am I then going out and sharing the good news and speaking about this new layer of Jesus's character that I've learned about? Because I think that's often what Jesus does when we go away and meet with him in community or in worship. Like he'll reveal something to us about who he is. And so I think it's just really important to not just keep that to yourself, but to share the gift that Jesus has given with us to others. And I mean, Peter goes on throughout the rest of the New Testament. Obviously, he becomes an apostle, and Jesus gives him the new name, Peter, or Cephas, I think, which means rock. Like, and the church is built on that, is built on this meeting, this interaction that he has with God. Yeah, I mean, are there any other closing points or things that you guys want to say before we wrap up?
I think in terms of like what you just said about, you know, keeping all these moments and experiences with Jesus that personally, like to yourself, I think there's like there's like moments in our lives where those like experiences with God and encounters, if you will, are meant to be cherished and are meant to be kept in your heart.
Yeah.
But there will also be moments where there'll be more freedom for us to share those experiences that we've had with God. But I think for some reason it like caused something within my heart to want to be a person that follows Jesus, that practices what I preach, if that makes sense. Because essentially Peter got chucked into 3 years of intense discipleship with Jesus, and then he was like sent out to do his ministry. And I just think, how can we be people that do the same thing?
You're so right. Like, this is a moment when Peter's life is changed, and he's now going to go on a journey of working out, what does my life look like now? Now that I've got this different calling. And I think I kind of came into this with like 2 questions that I think are kind of like really valuable for people who are going to be listening or watching to this. And the first question I already asked, which is like, what is the Lord asking you to use that you already do now for his kingdom? But I think there's an equal question that's almost like the opposite that comes out of verse 11. It says they left everything and followed him. And so not only is God calling them to use some of the things that they had before, he's also calling them to let go of some of the things they had before. And I wonder if there's some people who are going to be watching or listening to this, or maybe even one of the 3 of us, that need to almost ask the question like, what is the Lord calling us to leave behind right now in pursuit of him?
Mic drop. Sometimes you've got to sit in the silence just to see if anything else comes out. So, but anyways, wow, guys, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to this first episode of the encounters that Jesus had with people with us.
It's been meaty.
It's been very meaty. We've spoken about a lot of different things, hit a lot of different topics, but thank you for joining us in this Bible study. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, night, whatever you are doing. And drop a comment below, maybe a fish or a boat, whatever you want. And we'll catch you in the next episode. Peace out.
Toodles.
Bye.